Hey guys, really appreciate all the support you guys been giving me on YouTube recently. I've been having a ton of fun in season 9 and hope I can just keep coming out with videos to help you guys learn this game. If you guys want to use code Leon to check out with Focus, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you guys want to go to my Nexus link and support me with buying some yemas, I'd greatly appreciate it. Love you guys.
All right, let's go. We're gonna go in order. So we're gonna go like, all right. So this what this tier list is how good is the character if you pick him without seeing anything, obviously, because send me the link. Oh yeah, it's my source. Whatever, I don't care. I don't need all that. All right, let's put it. All right, so S tier. All right. All right. This is my tier list, chat. Achilles is definitely strong and consistent, not goaded. Let's be real. Why in this meta? He's always gonna be good because of his execute and his kit. It's depending on the balance changes on whether his damage is over the top or his damage is just average. But his kit is just always gonna be so consistent. Execute, stun, and just consistent damage. It's very hard to miss his damage. So he's just very strong and consistent. Agni's average. She had a strong phase where he was like almost goaded / very strong, but I think his dash is too counterable. Him not having CC immunity and flat pen being nerfed makes him infinitely weaker. He will never be a top pick character, right? Because he just has too many counters, and so that leaves him in the average spot where you have to think about, for him to be strong, you have to really think about what you're playing against and at least have a little bit of information of what you're playing against, and that alone makes him an average character. AMC, I think AMC sits in the average too. AMC has good damage. You got a buff on his ults to so you can shred frontline really easy. But outside of that, I think he's very easy to gank. Same problem, CC immunity. Unfortunately, what makes characters in tier lists is strong or not is it revolves around CC immunity, because CC immunity is what makes a character safer not to pick in the top end. Amma, I think isn't goated right now. I'm pretty sure Amma's goated right now. I don't know why nobody's just locking her in solo every game, but maybe because they're trying to have fun. But I definitely think Amma's goated right now. Her damage, she's been buffed a couple of times little by little. And she just does so much damage. She's hard to kill. Her CC she just does everything you want a solo laner to do. She wins lane. She can solo invade blue. She's very hard to contest on invades of blues. She's hard to contest when invading back camps. She's always going to be ahead. She's always going to put out damage. She's always going to pull beats. Yeah, everyone got bored of her. Yeah, sure, in ranked. But in comp, I mean, you're definitely going to see a lot of Amma throughout the next weeks. On her, wow, it's so crazy to look at on her and be like, damn, dude, he's actually weak. Right, chat? I mean, he's obviously been hit a lot of times, but he's pretty weak in my opinion. I mean, he's not... It feels bad, because he is one of those characters that, like, damn, bro, like, on her is that guy. Feels bad to have him as weak. This character should always be average to like strong / consistent, in my opinion. Never should be weak because of his high skill cap. But unfortunately, he's weak right now. He doesn't do anything very well. Like before, his damage was insane, right? His burst was insane. His outplay potential was insane. His CC. But now he kind of just does, like, he doesn't do a lot of damage. His ult has pretty long CD. All he has is a long CC immunity, which helps him in that aspect. But outside of that, he's pretty average / weak. You could put him here or here. Let's put Anubis. Anubis will leave at weak. Not don't play the god yet. Anubis is in a okay, like when lifesteal is bad, like Anubis is not a character, right? That's just literally what Anubis is. Can you lifesteal to full health off your combos? No, okay, he's bad, right? And with their band-aid fix to healing, which was literally an aura of if you're not in combat, you don't heal as much. That just kind of killed Anubis, in my opinion. And until they revert that or change that, I think he'll be here or literally buff buff Bancrofts or Typhons, which are pretty weak items right now. I think Afro is pretty weak right now. She doesn't feel like she has anywhere. Like I don't feel like you can play her anywhere and feel, comfortable. Like she just kind of walks her like she's just a minion. She doesn't do like out of combat healing's dead, right? Like it literally they killed healing. Do you guys not agree? Like all healing characters are just like so weak right now. There's literally no point of playing them. She does bad out of combat healing. Her damage isn't that good, right? She doesn't play any lane very well right now. She kind of dies if she goes to any mid camps. It's just unfortunate. Apollo is I would say strong / consistent / maybe around goated. Not sure. He can be played in almost literally every role. He's just such a strong character. I think his mez is why he's so strong as a hunter. Like having when I play Apollo, I'm sure you guys see me play Apollo jungle a million times or Apollo mid or Apollo everything. His mez, you need beads to kill Apollo. If not, you will not kill Apollo. That's what's crazy about him. Like and on top of that, he has the CC immune ult. He has great rotations, and his passive is one of the best passives in the game. So with that being said, Apollo's in a great spot right now. I love to play him all the time. Arachne is pretty, like, if you're talking about like low MMR games, I would say she's strong. If you're talking about like good like high MMR games, like where there's top players, she's pretty average / weak. But so we'll just say in general, we'll leave her at average. She's pretty average. She has CC immune ult. That's really good to save herself. Her items, unless you're auto speed, no, but auto speed he just cheeses low MMR games. Anytime he's in high MMR games, Arachne doesn't matter. Because the players are actually aware. Literally, I could play Arachne way better than auto speed can, just because I have better mechanics and understanding of the game. But I don't play Arachne because I don't give a shit. And neither does the top of, like, any of the junglers are trying to actually play competitive and not, like, we don't care about our MMR or our number, right? Like, that's why we don't play, cheesy shit like that. We just play to, like, learn and really get better while, he's playing for the points that nobody cares about. So, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, I'm not here to, you just compare, right? Like, just compare gameplay.
Yeah, let's get played the tier list.
And let's continue here with Aries. Aries is in a really good spot. Such a good spot. Aries is so strong. If you're a support player, if you ever get support and you can land chains and you have mechanics, Aries is so good right now. I just feel like him, if you get a decent start and then you get Obelisk and then you get the Scepter, you're actually another jungler right now. And that goes for all aggressive supports. You're actually another jungler. Once you get Scepter, it fixes this problem that he can't farm very well. And obviously they buffed him recently where his 3 does more damage to minions. So like he's in a really good spot right now in my opinion. So I think he might be the only problem is obviously if they're going against like a Ravana and a Purse, like yeah, Aries is not the greatest. Every tank's gonna be an S tier? Yo, kinda, bro. Kinda. I'm gonna say strong consistent. Because Aries is a little bit niche. Can be counterpicked into. Artemis is I think Artemis is pretty damn weak right now. Like, the builds don't go for her well. Dual lane's getting spam ganked right now. It's like the only way you can pick Artemis is if you need to know your support, right? Either Kepri, Geb, Sylvan is something in that nature. And you need to know that their dive is not the greatest. That's so much that has to go, well for you for her to be strong that you can't, there's no way you can put her in average. Artio, unfortunate, stupid character, but yeah, she's pretty goated. Literally only plays in one role right now. I think her support is pretty weak, but her and solo is just ridiculous. I mean, like you would think healing, right? Healing is bad. Anubis here, but her healing is in combat healing, so it isn't affected as much. And hybrid guardian items are broken right now, so she's in a great spot, but definitely unfortunate. Athena, I think, is strong. I definitely think she's pretty strong right now. Obviously, moving around the map is always going to be very good. In support or solo, I think she can be played. Like I said, literally, you're gonna see Guardians very high right now, very high on this tier list because their hybrid items are so strong that I mean, doesn't literally Stone of Binding, all the stones are strong. Void Stone strong. Then you go hybrid and then you do a ton of damage. You do consistent damage to their backline, and the backline does no damage to you. So that's what it feels like right now in this meta. And in support, I think Athena's probably one of the best scepter holders. So like in support, if you're able, like I said, just like Aries, if you're able to get a decent start and you're level 6, level 7 running around with scepter, you're like I said, you're another jungler. And in solo, she's pretty decent too. So she's definitely very strong. Atlas is I mean, dude, it's crazy. You're gonna see a tier list with guardians all up here. You're rarely gonna see a guardian be below here. Like guardians support is so strong, which is why I moved to support this split. Because I was playing jungle with an ult team, but unfortunately we didn't qualify. And so then the team no longer wanted to play. Like 3 to 4 players didn't want to play like Smite comp anymore. So then I found a new team and I wanted to play support. Willix is a pretty average jungler right now. She's definitely not strong. Nor consistent, nowhere near goated. She's definitely just average. Like if you get a good counter pick, so there's some leaps and there's some knockups, she'll be fine. She'll be a good early game jungler. You can't expect her to be one of the better late game. She's pretty weak late game. She can set the pace pretty well. I think Baba Yaga is actually a little bit underrated. I think Baba Yaga is pretty strong right now because I think you're fighting around mid camps a lot, and I think her mid camp fight is really strong. Also, when she gets stove, she reminds me a lot of Zhang Kui, but with CC immunity, right? Like, you'll dive her, but she's going to get her damage off and do what she does regardless of the dive, right? Like, unless you one-tap her, but you're realistically not going to one-tap Baby Yaga if she has actives. Like, she'll whatever, beads and then ult and then return damage. And if she dies, but she gets her damage off. Baka is chill. I'm telling you, you're going to see Guardians all up in the S tier. Baka is the GOAT right now. Same reason. You're gonna hear this a lot, but yep, Scepter strong, support, pretty strong role right now. Puanch is don't play this god, Omega Lol. He's so weak. Like he just doesn't do anything very well. Does nothing. Literally does nothing. Doesn't do anything better than anyone. I have love for Alpage. He's like funny to play. He's fun to play, no doubt. But just in terms of how strong he is, I think he's very weak. He doesn't do anything well. Exactly. With healing being bad, he's bad because he counters. AO is definitely pretty strong, I think, in my opinion. Right now, the spears, even though they got buffed then nerfed, they're still stronger than they were before, and so that makes AO stronger. And AO, like I said, in combat healing, he loves it too because he's very strong return damage. And I think he's in a really good spot as a jungler. Definitely could put in a lot of work with him with a type of build like with Tahuti, Spear, Magus, Typhons, or you can go ring build on him. You could also legit even go hybrid items on AO and make him pretty strong as a hybrid. Obviously with Execute, he's always going to be pretty strong. Baka, I think Baka's super weak / don't play this god. I'm not sure where he's at. I think he's literally at don't play. I'm pretty sure he's at don't play. Like he's that bad. He needs to be rekitted. The character did not age well. Baron is pretty average right now / strong. I can't tell yet. I think he's average. He's really like if you're running it down, he can be very good. Right, he's a really good, like, if you peel back into Baron, he can turn fights for sure. He has a couple roles you can play him right now, right? Support, mid, you kind of die a lot. And then solo, you lose a lot of blues. I think support is his best role right now, which is pretty sick. So I think Baron's in a pretty okay spot right now. Bastet is in the goated gods 100%. She just has the CC immunity in her ult that just made her so strong with a pull. Her damage is so high. She's so in and out. She's probably one of the best dive junglers right now, 100%. Ballona's in a pretty good spot. Obviously, Nemean is good, really good right now. And then on top of that, she has block stacks. On top of that, I mean, like she was a goated god, but Berserkers got changed, so that kind of that pushed her down definitely for me. With Berserkers change, she's not nearly as strong because with Berserker's death toll, that 2-item spike on Bellona, if you have your whipped leveled, you could literally fight 2 to 3 people at blue buff. So like, but right now with that obviously the Berserker's change going through, it's a completely different item. It pushes her down because she no longer has that crazy spike, but she's still very strong and consistent in my opinion in solo. Cab is goated, guys. Goated. He's been goated for so long. If you look at my past tier list, I've always said Cab is goated. I literally always ask him, like, I don't know why no one plays Cab, but Cab is goated. He's been goated. He's been untouched for I don't know how long, but he's just so strong. He has everything you like. He's tanky and his passive. He has 3 forms of CC. He has a wall. He does damage. He scales well. Like, I don't know what else you want from the character. But yeah, he's pretty insane. Wow, Camo, right? Being S tier to I would say he's average to strong. I would say more in the average department. He can be really good. I like in the right hands. If you're hitting almost everything, he can still, sustain really well. But I don't think he's at that point anymore. He doesn't provide any CC, right? All he provides is dive. But his damage has been hit so much that like his dive, like you literally have to hit every single ability on the same person, or the person's not gonna die. And if they ages it properly, I feel like your fight is kind of over. So I don't know. It's between average or strong strong / consistent. But I think I'll leave him as strong / consistent. I think his ult change was kind of ridiculous. You go up too fast, like you can bait yourself forever. So I'll leave him at strong. I think Serb is strong, definitely strong. For me, it's between goated or strong actually, because Serb is such a good solo laner right now, and like I said, the Guardians hybrid items are in such a good spot, and Serb is probably one of the gods that just loves it, because his DPS is so high with his with his 2-1 combo. He can be played as support, he can be played in solo, so I think he's in a really good spot. I think Serb should be played more. I think Stern is overrated as shit. I think at a certain point I thought he was pretty good, but I don't know. He just seems so weak to me. I think he just dies in fights. Like, he either snowballs and wins the game in 12 minutes or you lose. That is my opinion of this character. There's just too much. Like Smite is very centered around like beads, right? Beads is literally what dictates the game if you think about it. Beads and CC immunity. If you're able to CC immune an initiation, the chances of you winning that fight probably doubled, right? And so, like, CERN not having that and being in the long lane where you're getting ganked the most, like, it doesn't seem like people would be really picking this. Unless, like, it's, like, a very, like, a vote type pick, you know what I mean? Like, vote, like, yo, give me, invade, like, your whole play style has to be around, yo, invading purple and playing left side and protecting CERN, right? So it's very similar to Artemis, but I think CERN just has a little bit more DPS and more snowball potential, while Artemis doesn't really have that snowball potential, in my opinion. She can get a lead, but she just kind of falls, like, she dies once, which is very easy to happen, and then she kind of just becomes a walking minion. Chonk, I'm going to have to go with strong / consistent, maybe even goated. I'm not sure. I just think he only has one role, but in that one role, he is goated, in my opinion, / strong. He just scales so well with going DPS because his heal scales on this damage. And a lot of his items are pretty decent. But I'm going to just say strong / consistent because it really depends on what comp you're going against. Chong Gao, dude, I haven't seen a Chong Gao in so long. I don't know about you guys, but I really haven't seen a Chong Gao in so long. I think I'm going to leave her at weak because while she does have, the immunity on her 2, her damage isn't very good. Like, I feel like you just get, if you play Chong Gao mid, you're gonna get out cleared in mid all game. You're gonna lose mid camps all game because you're getting out cleared. You're gonna fall behind, and when you fall behind as Chong Gao, you're not a character. You have to be ahead and walking into people. because she's not an artillery mage. So I feel that she's pretty weak. Goated gods. I think Cherry is in the goated department. I think she's one of the best hunters, if not the best hunter right now. Reason being, she's such a safe hunter. And if a hunter can be 6 slotted and pretty safe, she can do more than these other hunters are doing. Like, I feel like hunters aren't really doing much in this meta. I don't feel like they're that strong. And but Cherry can be very strong because her 3, she can bait a lot with her 3. She can CC multiple people with her ult, and she will put out the damage with her, with her 1. With her 1 in her auto chains. So I think Cherry is pretty good right now. If you don't play Cherry, you should definitely be playing her in ADC. Churn is just pretty average to me. He has obviously his global, but I think he's been hit a couple patches where his combos don't seem as good. But I'll never put Chernobog under average. He'll always be pretty damn good. CC immunity. He can literally live same thing as Cherry, but I think Cherry is definitely way safer. But definitely can live for very long. And I think the any hunter that can bait right now or just buy a lot of time is a very good hunter. If the 1 isn't bugged, that too. Kyron in the goated department, guys. Kyron in the goated department. I mean, he's goated. What can I say? Just cleanse, high DPS, a trans character, works well with Crusher, works well with a lot of items. Aussie, he literally can go any build you need on him, and he will perform. He has, dive damage, and he can self peel very well. I definitely think Kyron's pretty goated right now. I love him in all roles. I play him in mid. I play him in ADC. I play him in any role that I can get him. Chronos is pretty average right now. Like, rings aren't the great. Like, literally, the rings make Chronos him or not. Like, what the character is, right? It depends on the Chronos player too. But I think he's pretty average. I don't think he's strong / consistent, because there's a lot of like mages that blow people up, like Purse, right? Purse. I mean, a little bit of Pause. Like, any mage with double flat pin is gonna blow up Chronos before he ults, in my opinion. So that's why I'll leave him at average. Cleo, Mio, S tier. No doubt. I mean, I'm sure you guys know she's just so strong, such high DPS, guaranteed to get her DPS off. Pretty safe character, and just such a strong kit when it comes down to DPS. I think probably one of the highest DPS junglers we've ever seen. Can also be played in solo. Cthulhu. I think Cthulhu's strong / consistent. He has a weak early game, no doubt, but once he gets to his mid game, he could do a lot. He creates a lot of space, a lot of havoc in backlines, and he doesn't lose lane that hard. If you can just get a jungler to secure a couple blues, he should be fine. And his rotations to Golfear and Fire Giants are insane, and he has very few counters. If Achilles is off the table, then Cthulhu is wide open. Kukulkan is average. Feels bad, man. I think he's definitely one of the funner warriors, but he's definitely been hit a lot of times. And I think the big one was the CD nerf on the ult, and that definitely put him dropped him very low, because he was top pick, top bandit for a couple of years, and now I think he's pretty damn average. People thought that he was weak, but I think he's average. I think he still has a CC immune all. He still can provide roots, push. He still has a lot of CC. Feels bad, but it is what it is. Cupid, I think Cupid is so shit. I think Cupid is in a don't play god. I think Cupid is a don't play god. I literally think Cupid is so bad. Like, unless Cupid can ult, right? Unless Cupid can ult 5 people that all don't have CC immunity and all have dashes, yeah, sure. If you're not level 5 by then, like, you're gonna lose lane. You're gonna be so weak. It's just a weak character. Unfortunate. I like his kit. I don't think his kit should be changed, just buffed. Da G, my girl Da G, definitely in the goated department, guys. I mean, her damage is really high. Her farm routes are really good. Her ult will always be, that ult. It just buys so much time, pulls so many beads, and her counter pick, like, she's strong regardless of what she's playing against, into. But if picked as a counter pick, she can be the strongest character in the game. So just leave it at that. Danza, I think Danza is very strong, so that's consistent right now. Because like I said, I think it's all like right now, if you think about it, literally ADC is about buying time and trying to get some DPS off. Like that's literally your goal, because jungler is hunting you / mage, and usually I feel like solo laners and junglers are winning these trades more often than not. So, but he has a taunt that's not DR'd, and his ult is really good to escape. His 3 is really good to escape, and he pumps out some pretty good DPS and has some abilities, and not just a full on AA hunter, and scales pretty well with Crusher. So, definitely think Danza's in a pretty good spot right now. No, I think Danza. I don't think Danza's look, Danza's definitely. I don't think he's average. He's definitely stronger than average. Like, when I see this character and I see this character, there's no way I can have Danza right next to CERN right now. I think he's way better than CERN right now.
I hate Danza.
I think Discordia is pretty average. She doesn't really put out that much. Like, mages are so strong right now, and that's crazy, right? Because you think, like, all mages should be, like, strong or consistent, but not really. Like, she doesn't do that much damage. Even with, double flat pen, she just does, like, pretty average damage. She's kind of safe, but not really, depending on the characters, if they have AoE or not. So I think she's like very niche pick, like a 6 pick or 7 pick. Discordia is the best team fight mage. That's wild to say, but yeah, I think she's pretty average right now. She just does everything pretty average, in my opinion. Literally everything. She's a pretty average safe mage. She's a pretty average damage mage. She's a pretty average self peel mage. Disco next to Agni is criminal, but Agni just fell off though a lot. Like, Agni can easily be counterpicked though, while Discordia can't. But Agni's damage is infinitely higher, so I think it's pretty safe to say that they could be next to each other. Erlang is definitely still strong, very consistent. In the meta, it depends on your style of play. Like, if you look at the Leviathans, like, they put Panitum to create space. Panitum is the tempo setter, while Shinto farms and Zat farms and Jarkor farms. So, like, his kit is very strong to do that, right? So, like, in certain scenarios, he can be a goated god, depending on, your team's playstyle. But when we're talking about ranked, he definitely falls off, right? You'll have, like, your first 10 ganks, are like, your first, like, 10 levels are insanely strong with Mannequin. But then you start to fall off a little bit, and if you did not make the impact that you needed to in those 10 minutes, you'll start to see the other junglers, take off. So that's my opinion on Erlang right now. I think ESET is pretty strong / consistent right now, maybe average. It really depends on the comp. Like, I just think Divine, I'm gonna leave her average, because I think Divine is just too easy to build and too easy to spread. And then you're literally countered in the first item. Like, in my comp games, I would literally buy Divine even if they had no healing. That's how broken the item is right now. So, like, with that being said, ESET literally getting countered in the first item, like, it just feels so bad. But she can be I think she's strong, consistent in support, and I think in mid she's pretty average. That is my reasoning with her. So you can, I think if you're playing support, you should definitely try her out, give her a chance. If she's mid, you have to really think about what you're playing against. So I'll leave her average for now. I think Faf is strong, consistent. I feel like he could be considered goated. I'm not sure. He's between these two. He's very good. Just depends on your comp, like I said. But if he can enable his comp, he is goated. If his comp is like not centered around him, when it comes to like DPSing fire and golds, he's still strong. So that's my opinion on him. He's definitely a really good character right now. Fenrir is literally in the trash can right now. You know what it is to be in the trash can? Unfortunate. So let's talk about Fenrir, right? Fenrir was top pick, top banned in the last, play-ins. Why? His ult, if you guys did not know, gets reset. Gets reset when you bite someone. So if you use your whole ult duration, walking and zoning people because you can't get bit, you can also pull beads by just, ulting, because they don't want to. If you bite someone 180 and you beads, you still get turned around, so you're already in a bad position. So people were scared of that, so you pre-beads. Not only that, but after you bite, it resets the CD for 2 seconds. So that was broken. They nerfed that. So when you nerf that, now Fenrir has no place, right? He's not a good support because he can't bite people or zone people in that aspect. He's not a good jungler because his DPS is so damn low, and he got nerfed as a support, which obviously nerfs his jungle. So, definitely unfortunate for Fenrir. What I told Hyres that they should do is just buff the brutalize. Because the brutalize is what the character is made around. If you can't interrupt the brutalize, it should do ridiculous damage. It's the only thing the character has left. But like I said, we'll wait for see what happens with Mr. Fenrir. I feel like I haven't seen Faf in a while. Faf is so good. I don't know how you could ever say this character is bad. Literally, the character has 3 stuns. One of the safest guardians out there. Farms at an insane speed, has an insane passive, does fire, which is the most, which is what Smite revolves around, at an insane rate. You're always scared that they can do fire, so you farm less because you have to have people around fire. Like characters, kind of insane. Like I'm not sure what you're thinking. Freya's pretty shit right now. I'm gonna go with weak to average. She's average. To me, she's literally average. Average if you build your comp around her, she can be average. She will pump out a lot of damage, if she can get to the late game. So if we're talking about ranked, she's definitely she's garbage. She's weak. If we're talking about competitive play, I think she's average. So I'm gonna leave her at weak because you guys are not playing competitive. I would say like 95% of you guys aren't. And rings aren't that good. So, yeah, Freya's kind of a meme. Ganesh is between strong or goated. It all depends on how much value his silence has and his ult. So here, I'll give you easy tip and trick on Ganesh. Do they have a lot of dashes? Yes. Ganesh is goated. Do they have a lot of leaps? Ganesh is strong. There you go. That's what Ganesh is. Geb is pretty average right now. He has really low lane pressure, but his mid lane game is so strong. So strong. Probably one of the hardest scaling supports in the game. So I think if you can get there, it's really good. But like I said, we're talking about ranked. We're talking about everyday games. Just be careful with the Geb pick. Right, if you pick them, it's because you want to cleanse something very important. For example, Fenrir ult, right, or AO ult, or or Daji. Then Geb goes higher in value. But if you're just picking Geb to pick Geb, he's pretty average. And make sure to play really safe in the early game. Gilga, regardless of all the nerfs, is pretty goated / strong to me. I think he's been hit a lot, so his damage is a little low, but he just has so much CC and such a safe character in my opinion. So I think he's strong, consistent / goated. Let me look at the characters that he's next to. Yeah, I think he's pretty goated. Is this strictly a ranked tier list? No, I'm giving you information of all tiers. I'm giving you competitive. I'm giving you information on ranked, yes, and competitive and pro play. So, I mean, you could take it as you want to take it. But this is where the character is, in my opinion. Guan is pretty average right now. Like, he could be considered weak or average, but I think he's more towards the average because he does have his lane matchups that are really good. And when it comes down to it, his late game sustain is really strong. Even if healing is very bad right now, obviously, the Guan healing is still pretty significant. And he has an in-combat healer as well, so, the aura doesn't hit him always. So, pretty average to me. I think Hachi is a little underrated right now. I don't see him as often as I feel like as I should, because when you remember we were talking about hunters, right? We're talking about safe hunters that can buy time and still get their DPS off, right? This is a character that can do so. Very safe with his ult, very safe with his dash. You can get your dash caught, but outside of that, still very strong character. I don't know why we don't see him as often, but I definitely think he's pretty good. I actually want to play him more now that I made this tier list. Hades is, I think he's weak. I think Hades is pretty weak. It doesn't really offer anything outside of just a tank stick that pulls people together that they just dash away from. His kit is too old. It doesn't make sense with today's meta. Hebo just got buffed, so I think he's pretty strong. I don't think he's goated. Not sure yet though. It's pretty early into the patch, but I think he's very strong. The 3 not being self-rooted helps with positioning and jukes, which he had a problem with. So I definitely think he's pretty strong right now. Heim is in the same department. Like I said, I think Heim's pressure is a tiny bit low. His pressure is a tiny bit weak, but his really safe hunter with an ult that can self peel and the 2 that can self peel, so I think it puts him in a pretty decent spot when it comes to hunters. Can you tell me about Baby Aga's never played an SPL? I mean, she's been played a couple times, but she's not consistently played because her damage is not consistent in the not her ult, but in the 1 I think it's a little, I don't know, a little weird. And I just think there's better mages. And she wants to use her passive to stack, and the last meta was not stacked meta. It was Rush, Spear, Deso, Spear, Divine. I mean, Spear of the other Spear and then Divine, so I don't think that was very weak. I mean, that was very strong meta for him. Hell is pretty average right now, if not weak. Doesn't do well in the items right now. It doesn't, like, she needs MP5 and a big mana pool, and without those items being in the meta, it just feels like she's just out of place, and healing is pretty shit, so pretty average. I think we put Afro here. Now we put hell average. Hera's so weird, right? Hera's either insanely annoying and strong or insanely garbage. What does that depend on? Do they have stuns? If the answer is do they have a Fenrir, or do they have a Thor, or do they have a Gilgamesh? You literally walk mid, you clear the wave, and you die. You go to left mids, you die. You go to right mids, you die. And she needs time to scale, and she won't scale because she has to walk up to the wave to farm. So pretty average. I think Herc is pretty strong right now and not used. I'm not sure why. I just think it's because Guardians. I think Guardian items right now, the hybrids are just so good. So you just want to pick a Guardian to scale. And then if you want to pick a physical support because you have double or triple magical, you just kind of pick the safer Horus pick than a Herc. But I don't know. I still think he's pretty decent. The Bluestone buff helped him a lot. So I think he's fine, in my opinion. I don't know why we don't see him. Hera into Thoth. You literally should be under tower the whole game if you're playing against Hera into Thoth. You literally can't move out of your tower. You will lose half your HP. Only thing is, if he dashes and he misses his route, I mean, then you can turn on him. But you should be one shot the whole game. Every time you go to red buff, it should be invaded because you're half HP. That's what should happen, But the Argus knockup can... Yeah, but I'm saying, but he can... Even if you drop ult, he just dashes away. He just 1-3, hit you with 3 ones, you're half HP, you want to do red, you want to do left mids, you want to do right mids, you can't. By the time you look at it, he should be level 10, you're probably level 7 to 8. And then Hera's a scaling character, so you're going to feel really bad. Horus is, I think, very strong right now. Very, very strong. Nah, your range is nowhere near as good. You literally, all right, to clear the wave as Hera, you have to walk up to the melees, right? By then you should have eaten three Thoth ones. At that point, he can either dash on you or ult you. Not only that, if mid's getting ganked nonstop, right? So if mid's getting ganked nonstop because of both mid camps are there and the OB respawn at 4 minutes on right mid camps is there, which is all the farm, you're pretty weak there. So like I said, Hera could be either really good or really, really weak. There's no in between for the character. Horus is in a really good spot. It feels weird seeing, maybe I put Herc average. I think Horace is strong, consistent. Horus is so strong right now. Like I said, he's in the same department as like why the Guardians are strong in support, right? Like you win the first scepter and you become another jungler, and you're just walking around invading red buffs and invading back camps and fighting at mids, and you're just as strong as a jungler, if not stronger. So it puts him in a really good spot. You know, a lot of the ADCs that I played with valued Hu Yi so really high because of his team fight. But I don't know, other people don't value him. You know, I think this character is a really controversial character because it is playstyle, right? Like, you know your bounces, do you know your outplay potential? So I think average is pretty safe for him. He is very killable. But he also can win fights for you. So I don't know. I think he's average. I wouldn't say he's strong and consistent. I would say the opposite, actually. He's not very consistent. Hunbots. Hunbots is average right now, unfortunate. His 2 takes too long to get the damage off. Like, his burst is so bad because his 2 takes so long to wind up. His ult is good, yes, but got nerfed 100-second CD, level 1. So, like, he feels very weird right now. He's definitely not strong. Definitely mega average. And you guys know I'm a Hunbots player. Mega average. Is Anami just strong, consistent? I don't think she's goated. In like at play-ins and playoffs, you'll see Izanami very high prioed. But the reason she's high prioritized is because she wins you the first 5 minutes of dual lane, and that can snowball the game. And Smite is very snowbally in that aspect. So losing two purples can lose you the game. But as good as Iza is, right? Like, how easy is she to gank? Like, she's literally has to be one of the easier characters to gank in the game. So like, there's no way I can put her at goated. She has to just be strong. Relic Dagger is the only way to play him. But like, if you're building Relic Dagger on a Hun bots and you get invaded by a Loki, a Mercury, and at back camps, you're literally so weak. You're so weak. You do no damage. You need full damage. You need to go like Joan's Hydra's serrated, and then you're strong. If you delay, put this item, Joan Hydra's Relic Dagger. You delayed your percent pen, so now you only have 10% pen. By then you have 3 items by then, right? By then, a frontliner has already like a breastplate and another tank item, and Humbots is probably one of the best frontline killers that there is. You literally do no damage. You hit for 85 or like 90, and your abilities do like 150. So it's unfortunate. I would love for him to be very strong, but not strong. He's very average. I think Janice is very average too. I don't think he's very strong, so as consistent. There's a lot of counters to him. But if in the right game, he can dominate the game. I don't think he is here. His ult just doesn't do enough damage to compensate for how hard it is to hit, right? Like, how useless do you ever feel in a late game a team fight as Janice? You miss the ult, right? Now you're literally not a character at that point. You're not a consistent damage character. Just feels very bad in terms of competitive and fire dances. But you know, it's just like Hui, right? It's the person that's controlling the character that makes a difference. So I'll leave him at average. I think that's pretty fair. I have no clue why no one's playing Jingwei. I have no clue why no one's playing Jingwei right now. The meta, obviously the meta is dictating towards safe hunters that can do DPS and then get out because they're getting dove. And like, Jingwei is number 1 at that. Obviously, it's not the greatest crit meta, but crit is still fine to build. So I don't know why we're not seeing Jingwei. Like, literally making this tier list has made me want to play Jingwei and Hachi. Jorm is... Jorm is pretty strong. Again, at least he feels that way when I play against him. He's not the easiest to kill, and he does a lot of damage right now. Like, Guardian items are, like I said, I mean, we see it here, we see it here, we see it here. Guardian items are very, very, very strong, right? All hybrid items are very strong. Not only that, but you can get away with going a real core mage item on him because of his ults. Yeah, Gilded Arrow Jorm is pretty good. Like in mid and stuff, and even in solo, but We'll see if people actually do build it. I think Kali's very strong. I actually don't play her often because I don't know. She seems a little boring to me sometimes. Her kit is like the only rewarding thing is resetting on her passive, but definitely very strong. I think in the builds department, she scales super hard, and her early game is not that weak because she got buffed a couple times in the mana department. So I don't think she's very bad right now. I actually like playing Kali. Yeah, Jing does lose wave pressure pretty hard, but like the same reason that Izanami's strong though, right? But like, I don't know. I think she can be strong. I'll put her at average. I think it's pretty fair. I think Kepri's strong right now. I think Kepri's a better Geb because he doesn't lose pressure the same way that Geb does. Only thing is that there's some counters, but there's very few. So I like Kepri right now. I really like Kepri. Kepri with Scepter isn't the strongest. I actually played a pretty crazy Kepri game today where I went off. I was like 4-1 in like 15. But the Scepter feels good, but not crazy. King Arthur's pretty average. I played him a couple times, but I've heard from a lot of solo laners, and when I play and I gank him and stuff, he doesn't feel very relevant in these fights. The items for warriors aren't that strong, so he just doesn't seem that strong. The only good thing about him is Bluestone, right? But even then, like, he loses lane with Bluestone against a lot of solo laners right now, like Bologna, Achilles. I just feel like he loses pressure, loses pressure, and then, like, why even pick King Arthur at that point? You know what I mean? Kukulkan is pretty weak in my opinion. I don't think any of the items are good. This character is literally good when Book of Thoth is good. Other than that, he's literally garbage. Unfortunate. Rekit. Kumba. I want to play Kumba. I don't know where this character is. I'm not sure if it's average, weak, or strong or consistent. There's no way you can be strong or consistent. There's too many good characters here. But average to weak, I'm not sure. I don't know how good he is with Scepter outside of the Scepter kind of shits on him, right? Because you mez and then the Scepter goes off, so he might be pretty weak just on that note. But I feel like the character does have some potential, some comps. Guzambo's pretty average. I'm not sure where I'd put him. CC's okay. I want to play him. I'm not sure. He's between average or weak. I'll leave him at average. The character's kit is just really strong. Loki had his little run for a while, for a couple months, but he's definitely fallen off really, really hard. I'm trying to think. His level 5. I feel like it's just so obvious to play against a Loki. It's just so easy to play against him. Like, you know exactly what he's gonna do, and so I just think he's average. I'm gonna leave him at average. Dusa might be here. Yeah, Dusa's goated. The reason Dusa's goated is that her timings are just crazy. Why do tanks want Scepter? Because you want to be you want to be in their backline. Like, the only time I think you should be giving up Scepter as a support is if, like, your jungle is a Gilga, right? A Gilga that's hybrid. Yeah, if I'm a Kepri, I'd probably give it to my Gilga. You know what I mean? But other than that, like, so I think Guardian, just like if I'm a Horus or I'm a Herc, and Athena, and Aries, I want Scepter. It also helps me farm. So it allows me to be, 2 levels above the opposing support. Merc, you see, there's not a lot of people that play Merc right now. But I think Merc is pretty goated in the aspect of, like, what doesn't he do? How is Kuzan better than Kumba? He does more with Scepter. He's a stronger support with Scepter, and that's pretty much all you need in this meta. That's what the meta is right now. But, like, you have no reasonings behind what you say, Shabib. You just say things to say them. Seems like. But yeah, Merc is really good, I think, right now. The reason being is he just does objectives. He does objectives insanely well. He ganks lanes insanely well. He has a decent early game. He has an insane late game. Another thing that you want to think about when you're picking Merc is how good is Spectral. Spectral's pretty shit right now. Another thing you want to think about when you're picking Merc, how good is Nemean? Nemean's pretty decent, but doesn't matter too much when you're diving backline, as Merc can get to backline. Another thing is Kins good for hunters? Yes, Kins is pretty good for hunter right now with Silver Branch, so it allows Merc, it opens up for Merc to go crit. Those are the things that I think about when I think about whether Merc is good or not. There is some picks that could be tough into Merc, like Emir and whatnot, but I don't know. I think Merc is really, really strong, but I'll leave him here. What's your build for Mercury? I have a lot of YouTube videos on Merc builds. Merlin, is Merlin strong or average? That's the question. Is he strong or average? Oh, dude, he just takes so long, right? He needs so many items to be strong. Similar to Tiamat, but when Tiamat gets online, he wins games. Merlin defends games, right? Like, that's what I feel like. When Tiamat gets 5 items, wins game. When Merlin gets 5 items, okay, he's finally strong. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think Merlin's pretty average. I agree with you guys. Morgan Le Fay is pretty average too. One of the biggest things about Morgan Le Fay is that she's a CC immune mage. A very long CC immunity with a lot of self peel. Her damage isn't the highest. Her early game isn't the strongest. But her mid game and her late game is pretty damn good in my opinion. So, you know, and obviously it depends on the player that's playing her. But I think she's average to strong. Not sure. And maybe keep her average. But she could be strong. You want to know what it depends on? If the assassin or warrior don't have knock-up immunity. If they do have knock-up immunity, I think this could be, you could be a problem. Let's say, for example, Dao Ji. Dao Ji kind of just dumpsters his character. You 3-1, she 2s herself to self-peel, you 2, and then she's dead. But then that goes for every character, Mook. Mulan, I actually played Mulan Jungle for the first time today. I'm uploaded on YouTube. I think I went like 16-2 or something, like 15, 14-2. 17-2 or 3. Mulan is average. She's definitely nowhere near goated. You could argue she's strong, but I don't think so. She's definitely very average right now. She doesn't do her damage is really high early mid, but then she falls off really hard. Neith is average unless you're Snoopy. I'm just gonna leave that at that. Nem is strong / goated, but she does have some pretty hard counters. Is Mulan's numbers average or her items are average? I think her playstyle is average. Her items are fine. In solo, they're a little bit weak. In jungle, they're pretty decent. It's okay. You know, Soul Eater is good. Jones is good. Crusher's is good. Serrated is good. The hammer's good. I forgot the hammer. 20 HP 5, 20 MP 5. Yeah, they're good. They're pretty decent items, but I just think the problem is her kit. Like, she scales into mid game really strong, and then she falls off really hard. But yeah, Nem is. Imagine Nem's shield didn't disappear when she'd stunned. Oh, it'd be the best character in the game. You'd need that. That's her only counter, to be fair. Mulan loses to all strong warriors you listed. Yeah, I agree. She definitely loses laning phase pretty hard. Nem is definitely. I'm thinking of whether Nem is goated or strong. She's strong. That's guaranteed. She does have some counters though. Nah, definitely not average. She's stronger than average. Is Kyron better than Apollo? Yes. I'll leave her as strong. She does have some counters. Like, if you have to beads every engagement, to kill someone, you have to beads, right? She has so much outplay potential. She does until she doesn't, though, right? It depends on the comp you're playing against. Imagine you're playing against an Apollo, right? An Apollo ADC, right? An Apollo ADC and a Bracken support. Her dive isn't that good. You blink ult, Apollo mezzes, you're forced to pre-beads, you 2, he dashes away, you double dash after him, and then now you have no beads when Cap comes to peel, and now you're not a character anymore. That's the problem with her. It's all about making sure that your shield has high value. If your shield has high value, then she's probably goated. If your shield does not have high value, she's consistent. She still shreds tanks, but that's it. Kyron stronger in mid or duo? I'd have to say, I don't know. His mid pressure is ridiculous. His mid pressure is insane to fight. His duo pressure is insane to fight. Where would I like him better? I think this is how you want to build your comp. Let's keep it up. We still have a lot of characters. Naja, strong. Naja's garbage, unfortunate. It's average character or weak. I'm not sure. I think it's pretty weak. The only build that's okay on Naja right now is one build. Joan's, Hydra's. You max your one coin toss and you max your sash. That's it. That's it. She's pretty average to weak. I'm not sure. It depends on the character. If you're an insane Naja player, you can make her look average / strong. But if you're an average Naja player, it's literally weak. I don't know. I don't know if I could put her here. It doesn't feel right. I don't think it's weak. I think just a lot of players are really bad with her. But I am making this tier list for a lot of players. So Naja's a boy. Yeah, I know. I just say it's a she by mistake. All right, I'm gonna go Nike next. Nike is pretty strong, I would say. There's better picks than Naja. I agree. Look how many picks. I still think Naja's fight is good. Like I think if Joan's Hydras, your gank is so strong. It's very similar to the way Erlang plays. Like, yes, Erlang's kit doesn't scale that hard into the late game like Naja does. Like, but Naja and Erlang have something very similar, that they can set the pace of the game really fast. But Erlang has I think a more consistent kit than Naja, so that's why I put him higher. I'm gonna play Naja after this game. Nox. This character. I think Nox is average right now. Definitely not weak. Because it could be really strong in support. I think the builds that people have been doing in support is pretty strong. Holding people in place and silencing them is kind of crazy. You pull actives really well. Pretty safe. And I think Nox support is average. I think Nox mid is weak. That's my take on it. Nuwa is mega average. Like, you press 4 and you do damage to everybody, but you know, the spears aren't the greatest on her. I think she's pretty average. Yeah, mid Nox is garbage in my opinion. Odin, I mean, what are you playing against, right? Odin is average because Odin is like, what are you playing against? Can you cage them? Yes, okay, he's strong. Can you not? Okay, he's weak. Right? That's literally the character. I think Issa support is strong. Yeah, I agree. That's why I have Issa. Oh, here. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think I'm pretty sure for Issa in my video, I said that if it's support, it's strong, and if it's not, if it's mid, it's average. So I left it at average, but older one is I think in the don't play God department. I don't know. Like I don't know why you pick this character. I just see him die. He doesn't do anything. You even if you hit a 5-man, like the character is garbage, or you hit a 5-man ult every ult, right? That's my opinion of the character. Osiris is I think pretty average right now. I think he's like okay in jungle, and then he's like okay in solo. That's my opinions of him. I don't think he is insane in any of the roles. Pele, I think Pele is weak right now. Like, Divine is just too easy to build. Who the Purse is goated. I hate this character. I gotta play it more, but I hate it. The character is just... The character changes the mechanic of the way you play the game. Literally. It does insane damage. Yes, I'm going to put the list on YouTube, and I will share the list. Pos is, I think, pretty average. Depends on the Poseidon player. Right. He has okay DPS. He does fine with the spears. Yeah, Purse is definitely broken, in my opinion. I think Raw is pretty strong. I think it depends on what you're playing against, but I think Raw can be very strong, but can be average as well. It depends on the kid you're playing, the people you're playing against, but I don't know. I really like how he farms. His farm speed is insane. He doesn't really need to fight. He's never really in trouble, but if you do get, comps that can sit on him, I don't know. Like, if you build Legion, Chronos Legion, coin, or like divine coin, like you're actually unkillable to the junglers, and that's the only thing that's gonna kill you at that point in the game. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave him as strong. I agree that he's strong. Rama's strong. He's consistent. Like, he's not a crusher character, which actually can put him average, but his late game is really good, and his ult buys time, which is what I've been basing the other hunters off. Rat is average or weak. I mean, it's really hard to put him at weak because his kit is so consistent, right? Slow, stun, knockup, and global. So it's kind of really hard to put him at weak, but his kit feels that way. The damage isn't very high on a full damage build, and if you do a full damage build, it feels like you're out of position the whole game. So I'm just gonna leave him at average. Ravana, I think Ravana's in the same place. Like, I think the only junglers that are this high, right, above strong and consistent, are just junglers that can actually one tap. Ravana's just not that case. Ravana's just a consistent jungler, which makes me want to put him here, but maybe he's here. He's just consistent. He doesn't bring that insane damage or hyper carry potential. Rama's not a crusher character. He doesn't get value out of it, but you can still build it. Scylla. I think Scylla's strong. I think people underrate Scylla. Literally, the only weakness of Scylla is the first five levels. And even then, if you go gem instead of going the CD one, if you go gem as your starter, it's not that weak. Like, this character is ridiculous. I'm gonna leave it as strong. That's what I believe. I think people are just garbage with her, and people don't understand how to play early game. Serket. Oh wow, Serket's an interesting one because she got changed. I played her jungle. Her damage feels okay. Like, she's a tiny bit better jungler, but she lost support completely. I'm gonna go with strong. She felt pretty good when I played her. I think Set is average. I think Set is too peelable right now. His damage isn't high enough. He doesn't burst. He needs a fight to go on for a very long time. Scotty is, I don't know. People play Scotty, but I just don't see I hate Scotty. I mean, I think that character is so boring, but we'll see. I'm gonna leave it at average. I don't know. In the respect of Panda, I'll leave it at average. Sobek, I think Sobek is pretty consistent / strong. I think the only problem with Sobek is that if you're gonna have a guardian as Sobek, your support is Sobek, you're gonna need your warrior to have stunts. For example, Achilles, or something that could just keep them in place, because Sobek displacement can be good and bad. So, but in that aspect, I think Sobek's pretty good. His ult is always gonna be great. I mean, it's just a better Ymir. And his him with Scepter is very strong, so that's why I'll definitely keep him at strong or consistent. Soul will always be strong or consistent for one reason only. It's one of the only mage hunters that is consistent, right? Like, Freya is nowhere near that. So you have Soul, and I just think all-around's garbage. I think people have started to notice that. People used to first pick them, then realize, holy shit, like, we're literally losing the game because you make one battle. One battle, and that character doesn't do anything. But I think Soul's definitely a more consistent mage ADC, and that's why he's always contested when you want to have pressure in middle with hunters. Wukong, I think Wukong is definitely strong right now. Soul Eater, I think, is literally programmed poorly. I think Soul Eater's broken, guys. I think Soul Eater is broken, and I think that's why Wukong is actually pretty good right now. And I think the rest of the items are pretty decent for Wukong. His dive is good, and he can survive the initial active usage. Susano might be goated right now. It's hard to say. Susano, I'm gonna leave him as strong because there is characters that character can't play against, right? He does have that huge weakness of having no CC immunity. So, you know, characters like Aries, you know, Athena, just doesn't really allow him to play, but he can take over the game. Sylvanas is goated, bro. I'm gonna be honest, man. But just people suck with him, but he's so good. He's so good. So good. Jungle, mid, support. Him with Mannequin is until they take out Mannequin, once they take out Mannequin, he'll drop here. But with Mannequin, he is literally that high. Terra is, I would say, average. It just depends on the comp and the player, but I don't think you should be like top picking Terra as a support. Thanatos, pretty average. Yes, he has an execute. Yes, he has a stun, but I don't think his damage is high enough to make up for the risk that the character has. I think the Morgan is about here. Strong, consistent. Could be goated depending if there's a Cthulhu or there's, you know, the right characters have to be in play for Morgan to be goated. But we'll say usually she is just a strong pick. Thor, unfortunately, average as well. Doesn't do, in my opinion, the damage that he needs. I think as soon as you throw your hammer, any good jungler is gonna kill you. Thoth is on that goated list. So when we're talking about comp, Thoth could be strong, consistent, but when we're talking about rank, this is one of the best mages, if not the best mage in the game. Tiamat is strong, consistent. I'm gonna put him in goated as well. Like, Tiamat has a timing where the game is over. If you do not put this Tiamat behind and the game gets to 25 minutes, this character will win the game for you. Suki's strong. I think in jungle and solo he's about the same when it comes to in terms of like how good he is. So I'm just gonna leave him as strong and consistent. Like if you want an assassin type, an assassin like you know, solo laner, I think Suki is one of those. I had this question on why people think tier is so bad. Because I'm a love tier, but I haven't played him in so long, so I don't like. I know in jungle his damage just doesn't scale and he falls off after like 15 minutes or like 12 minutes. But in solo with full tank, I still think he has high value, but I'm not sure. You know, a lot of people don't like to play him. Uller builds. Uller's damage is a bit low. I'm gonna leave him at average. I don't think Uller's that good. Vamana is, I think, in a don't play God department. I don't know. I mean, there's just you literally get one active and this character is not a character anymore. He doesn't play. Vulcan is his damage is really high, and so there's no way I can put him in weak. But you know, he's pretty unsafe. You know, you want to go do more on the character, but you can't go do more, right? Because like you need to go divine. You could go do more and then divine. So I think he's whatever. He just gets camped, just falls over. X-Ball's a pretty consistent ADC right now. Like, yeah, he's pretty easy to read when it comes to ganks, but his ult always has value, and he hits hard. Jing 10 average. His CC is just too slow to come out, but other than that, I think he's really hard to kill, and he's pretty good with Scepter, so we'll see if we see Jing 10s throughout this year. I'm curious to see that. Jamo just strong, consistent. Definitely consistent. I might have to put Emir in the strong and consistent. I don't know why we didn't see any Emir this Worlds, but I don't see why Emir would be that weak. I just think people were a little bit scared. Oof. Let's see these last characters. Zhang is average. I think it depends on a lot on the comp on whether you pick him or not. He's literally like a niche pick that you have in the back in your pocket. And you're like, oh wait, like no Nem can be picked. They don't have anything to punish CC, lack of CC immunity, and they group a lot. All right, we can pick Zhang here. Zeus has to be goated. I despise this character, unfortunately. It's so stupid to play against. It's so strong. It does so much damage, and it's very similar to like Zhang, but infinitely more damage, and can do other things like objectives and whatnot. I'm gonna have to put Shiva at just consistent and strong. I don't think he's goated. I mean goated. I don't think Shiva is here yet. I think they hit him too hard on the patch, but that's fine. I mean, they put him from goated to strong, so I think that's fair. And this is my tier list, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll get back to the Schmeiticals.